Hi, my name is John Cooksey, and I want to welcome you to our videotape. Whether you have an AVE5 or an MX-10 or an MX-12, I think this video will be of some help to you. A couple things this video is not. It's not a video that we're going to spend the first 20 minutes of the video talking about what it's going to be about. We're just going to go right into it. And the second thing is, it's not a real big Hollywood production. I'm just a video user like yourself who's come up with some ideas and techniques that you can use in your video mixing process. So let's get right down to business. Setting up your AVE roll system. The MX-10, MX-12 mixer series allows you to do AVE rolls, that is, blend and dissolve from picture to picture. We're going to show you how to set up your unit right now, the basic way. If you know this already, well, just bear with us, we'll make it fast before we get into the effects. First thing you want to do is take your digital mixer and insert the source from the A unit and the B unit, your source decks. In this particular case, for the source, I'm using one 7500 unit and another RCA machine. You can also use a camcorders or whatever you want to use as your source machines. Please set up your mixer so source video 1 is on the A bus and source video 2 is on the B bus. Also, please push the effect button in the record video out section of your mixer. It'll pretty much stay this way for the rest of this tape. For the MX-10 and 12 users, please set the input mode if you haven't already. Now that you have that set up, you want to take one of your outputs from one source and one from another in the back, as follows here, so you can have two preview monitors. This will allow you to see what's coming up that's going to be edited into the main tape. And of course, on your main output, you're going to have your main monitor. Now for a really quick review. First, you have your two playback decks and your digital mixer. You also have two monitors and a record deck, which will also have a monitor on it. You take your outputs from the two players and you put them into video 1 and video 2, or source 1 and 2 on the back of your mixer. You take your monitor out, plug them into your monitors. You take your record out and you plug it into the video recorder. You also, of course, have a monitor on that video recorder. All this is covered in the manual. That's why we went over it quick. If you have any questions, consult your manual. Now on to the next part. The first effect on this tape is the expansion effect. And like many effects on this tape, it's going to involve some pre-planning on the part of you beforehand. When you go out in the field, you're going to have to know what effect you're going to do, and we'll match it up later with the digital mixer. The first one is called the expansion, and it's going to have you zoom in on an object or zoom out on an object, and then we'll add the effect later. So let's take a look at exactly how that process is done. First, you want to select the footage that you want to use. Now, we did an interview here, but this can be done with wedding reception footage or anything. You have to select the footage that has the desired move that you want in it. In this case, we did a zoom with a slight pan to the right.
High school age young people, and they go out and graduate from college, and they come back and be deans.
The next step is to create a box around your raw footage and use your positioner and your slider to practice your move. Step 3 is to select a background and border for your wipe, with an effect if you want for the background. Here we chose a yellow border for our wipe, and we chose a painted and strobed version of Walking Through the Woods for the background. The titles and the upcoming movement of the titles were done later with the Amiga Computer and the Pro Video Gold character generator system for the Amiga Computer.
The whole thing is to see young people come to conference as a conferee, and then they come several years. They come back as counselors when they get older. In college, sometimes they come back and they're on staff, and also high school age young people, and they go out and graduate from college, and they come back and be deans.
Now you might be wondering exactly what was that special edition title right there. Well, the background there I call sort of the Donahue effect. It's bars going every different which way, which you can superimpose in a variety of different ways. And right now I've just laid on the background for you. And believe it or not, especially if you run through a color corrector or something, it's just a generic background, even though it's on VHS for you right now. This will really do a lot for you in terms of being able to add it to different foregrounds like I did with the character generator with the Amiga, or you can use it to key in titles over with the MX series mixers, or do just about anything. Here it is right on tape. It's yours to use whatever way you want, whatever production you want, and you can get really creative with it. So enjoy. As it looks now, that's a pretty poor looking title, but with the superimpose or key function on your mixer, you can do a lot of interesting titles with just a whiteboard and some rub-off letters. Or you can use an invitation with thick letters, laser printed material, or camera ready black and white copy. If you're doing, for example, weddings, and you know you have 8 or 9 coming up, what you may want to do is go down to the printers when you have all those titles set, rent some time on a Macintosh or whatever these things are that do the laser printing, and basically for a very inexpensive rate you can get a bunch of titles done. Now let's show you how they're done. First you must take the tape that has your titles on it and put that in source 1 machine. Set that on the A bus. Next take your background or wedding footage, put that in the source 2 machine and set that on the B bus of your digital mixer. Then move the slider to the B position. Now set a square white pattern. This is optional for when you want to do sort of a half white and a key. Turn on the superimpose function. Press the A button on the superimpose function section. For the MX mixers, press Video 1 instead. Color select your back color. This will be the color of the titles. It's not a good idea to have it black. It doesn't work well with the title effect. Any other color. Bring up the key level slider about 20% of the way up until you see the title coming in. Now adjust the key level till the title is not too saturated but not too grainy either. Now experiment with the title effect button to get the shadow or outline of your liking. If you want to, you can even hold the card in your hand and tilt it. Find the angle that suits you best and then still it, which can give you an interesting effect. What you're seeing here is basically raw work footage where I let the B-roll of the wedding go, and I have the still in my digital mixer, and I'm just playing around with the positioner and different effects and different colors, different shadows to try to end up with a particular background and pattern that I'm happy with. Once I do have this, I do bump it over one more time to the edit master. If you're working in Super VHS and you have a nice quality picture, people will not notice the degeneration of the background. They're noticing the title anyway. This is what I finally ended up with for this title. Here's a particular title that was done off a television screen where we actually did the titles on the Amiga and we filmed it at an angle actually off a 20-inch screen to be able to give the effect of the angled effect moving into the picture. We actually filmed the television, and then we added the key, and then we went into mosaic, and you can see how this looks. With your mixer, you can actually create a digital compression effect, but it's actually an illusion. You're not really creating a true compression. That's why we use the name fake digital effects. The effects you're seeing here are done with black and white key animations. Now, I'm not the greatest Amiga animator in the world. You can create these yourself. As a matter of fact, after you see the different animations right here, I will put the black and white animations on. You use this tape with the animations and the key function as described in the title section that went before this to do all the animations seen here. The setup is the same with source 1 being on the A bus, source 2 being your background footage on the B bus. Of course, source 1 is having the animations on it. And then you just use the key level
Make sure your superimpose function is on, your fade control is in, all that. Make sure it's at the right point, and then back and forth. This is what you get. I added a border here. The reason being is sometimes the key doesn't go all the way to one side or the top. This is apparently sort of an inherent error that was built into the MX series mixers that they can't get rid of. So you can either put a border on to get rid of that by creating a square wipe, or just deal with it. The one you're seeing now, this effect, is one of my favorites. It was actually created using Deluxe Paint 3 like the other ones were, and copying frame by frame just an in and out AD type effect I saw on TV. That frame copying process is something that we're going to be going over in Volume 2 of the Digital Mixer Companion. Right now I'm going to put on the black and white keys though, and I'll enable you to punch in some video on one channel and put in the key in the other. It always seems to be that people are looking for the next greatest digital effect. However, the best effect you can really use is a dissolve. The greatest movies in history didn't use digital video effect or digital film effects, with the exception of maybe Star Wars or a space movie. They just use good old-fashioned dissolves, and that's something to keep in mind, because too many fancy special effects just don't make it. There's nothing beats the good old dissolve. Now let's see how effective that transition would be without the sound effect.
So the lesson to be learned here is sound effects can give a video effect much more realism. Make sure you use them whenever you can. Right now, let's look at how that motion was done. For convenience, we've stilled the pictures just to be able to concentrate on the squares here. So, as you can see, you have one picture that's going to start, which is the girls hugging each other. We happen to do it from a freeze, but you could do it as a continuous motion piece. And then behind we have myself. This type of effect can be broken up into two movements. First we have the in and out movement of the slider going from the A to B bus, and we have the positioner up and down movement. These two are combined in one smooth motion. Yes, it does take practice to give the illusion of the box going, in fact, behind my back, when of course it's really not. You may find it easier to use your right hand on the joystick and your left hand the slider. For those MX-12 users, you can experiment with this move using the auto take button. In some ways it might make it easier. So to get a hang of this move, practice the two moves separately, the in and out move from the slider and the up and down move of the positioner. Together, combining these effects with practice, and it does take a little, as I said, you should be able to get this same effect. The reason why it seems like a digital type of compression effect is because of the up and down motion, giving the illusion of an arc. Now the arc has always been associated with compression effects, so to see it in a wipe like this, your eyes don't normally see that the picture is in fact not compressing itself. If you want to get any fancier, you can also move the positioner up and down more than once or twice in a faster motion while you're sliding the slider in and out. This will appear jerky at first, but after a while you'll get the hang of the impression you're trying to make. One secret of this effect is to make sure most of the real fast motion is taken care of when in fact the square or circle or whatever you're moving around is smaller. Because when it is smaller, you can't see that there's in fact not a compressed signal at all. This theory is most important as we move on to our next section, when we do the twist. The twisting motion is done similar to the behind the back motion. You're going to have two movements for this, and one is the swirl movement around in a circle, the twisting movement, and the other is the in and out. And again, you're going to combine these with the positioner and the slider, or you can try it with the auto take button to achieve the desired effect that you want. Remember, most of the swirling should take place when the box is the smallest. Incidentally, the two tapes you see here were randomly selected. The Beatles group has nothing to do with the wedding. So getting back to the move, it's basically practice, practice, practice. The swirling motion and the in and out motion, and back and forth till you feel you got it just right. Another motion that you can practice with the wipe and the positioner is called the triangle effect, or diamond effect I call it. And that's done by simply having a diamond come out from the left or the right of the screen and go over to the other side. One example of this is bringing your diamond out with a slider where the positioner's at the 3 o'clock position. And as soon as it comes out to full screen, switch your positioner to the 6 o'clock position. Then quickly bring your slider back down the other way, and this will give you the simulation of a diamond. This is another move that just basically requires practice. You can even angle the diamond, and it sort of gives the effect of a whole TV picture flipped up on its side going by. It's even more effective if you can try to combine it with some motion as seen here. One special effect that's often overlooked that can be done with the digital mixers is the ability to have two of yourself in one place. If, for example, if you place one person one place, film them talking to someone who's not there, put them in another place, and then blend the two images with a split screen, maybe using a soft split screen, keeping the camera, number one, on a tripod and in the same place, you're able to blend the images to get the illusion of two or even a lot more people in the same place.
This process is done with one camera, switching tapes when you film the subject opposite you.
And
And now on an unrelated subject, how to make back the money you spent on this tape. Dun, 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 dun. Yes, you can mail out videos that you have, whether you're mailing out demos to clients or videos to friends or whatever, special fourth-class book rates. Now, the special fourth-class book rate means the video must have no papers or literature in the box with the video. And no matter what the post office tells you, it will usually arrive within 7 days. I mean, they say, well, special fourth-class book rate can take 2 weeks or something, but I've mailed out hundreds of tapes this way, and I don't think I ever had one that took longer than 7 days to get across the country, fourth-class book rate. You must print on the box special fourth-class book rate. I usually print in the lower left-hand corner with, 1-inch letters, so they know it's special fourth-class book rate, and that's only $1.20 for one tape in a box. So, one tape mailed costs $1.20 as opposed to $2.90 sending a tape out first class. Now, the average video person is going to mail at least 20 whatever demos or samples or duplications out a year. Mailing 20 tapes out a year this way will save you $34. Of course, you'll save a lot more if you are mailing out like 100 a year, but this is the most effective way I found to send out demo tapes or duplications or whatever. And again, usually they get around the country anywhere in 7 days. I don't think I've had one that took longer. And yes, the post office does allow a video to go special fourth-class rate. You just can't include any literature. Hope this tip helped you. Now let's go on to our next section.
Hey, put me down. My feet aren't touching the ground. This isn't my idea of fun. Hey, somebody get me down. Put me on the ground, please. I don't like this.
Yes, you too can join the Peter Pan School of Flying through video levitation. As a matter of fact, it's really not that hard. I can show you how it's done. If you haven't figured out exactly how this was done, it's actually 2 pictures. We filmed with the car there and without the car there. We took without the car there and we made it a still. Then we used the horizontal white pattern and brought it up just to the edge of the roof. If you were to use the mix button, this will give the impression that the car is actually dissolving into the background, as seen here. For all the wedding videographers out there, this kind of effect can make a very powerful ending if you use it in the right way. Obviously not with a car. With the bride and the groom, you must use a tripod. Now see if you could figure out how we did this one. Beam Me Up, Scotty is an effect that uses a lot of elements of our previous effect. You're using the white for the dissolve into the background that you have filmed with the car not there. Of course, always on a tripod, otherwise you'll never get the same shot. Then we use the key level, and we adjust the key level just the way we want it to get just the right amount of background color blending in or out the way we want it. Now the key here is also affecting the background trees and everything. That's just the nature of how this effect goes. But if you have enough contrasty color, you can actually get an effect where only the car has the key effect around it. And that's something you'll have to experiment with. The real secret to this effect is being able to work the key slider and the wipe slider at the same time to get just the desired effect. It's probably best to lay all your experimenting onto a work tape and then take your best take from there to put it in your Edit Master. Good luck, and we'll see you at the next planet.
Listen, can't I tell you where the parts are to edit? I wrote the numbers down from my VCR. Aren't yours the same?
I'm sure somebody sometime has said that to you and you got a little frustrated. Well, now you can give them a tape with the time code on it. To do this, simply point your camera at your edit controller. If you have a smaller edit controller, it'll be a little harder. Get it positioned right in the corner, and then hook up your system as follows. You're actually filming the edit controller, and the camera is going into the mixer with the white pattern on into the VCR. So your television ends up getting a time code on like follows. It's actually being filmed right from your edit controller from your camera. What I'm going to show you here is the actual time code on this very tape that we created, which is nice if you're doing a production and you know how far into the piece you are. It says 34 minutes, but you have to subtract 6 or 7 for the blank I left in the beginning of the tape. It's nice to give a client a raw footage tape with this simple kind of time coding on, so they can then mark the edit points that they need when they come back to you, hopefully making it a more pleasant edit session.
Right now we take you into an episode of Police Story starring my wife Annie.
You see, Annie sometimes drives in a way that bothers me and bothers the police too. Although it doesn't bother her. As a matter of fact, most of the time she'll just keep on driving. I guess figures she's going to try to outrun him someday, but it just never seems to be the case. Now you may be wondering why she's even smiling. Well, that's because it's all an illusion, folks, the MX-12 illusion. And it's simply done by filming her like this.
Looking back. Looking back. Looking back of you.
Of course, sometimes you have to give her directions more than a few times. You also may want to put a border around the left or right edge of the car, depending on how much of the windshield covers up the bottom half of the screen. That's why I had that Police Story banner on the left side. So to review again, you bring down the horizontal wipe with the soft edge, and you can experiment with the reverse buttons and a banner on the left side to give it the best effect. Right now we've included about 1.5 minutes of the police background here, so you can try the same thing at your studio. Good luck.
Oftentimes people may come into your editing studio, and of course they have that amateurish tape that they brought in of their own camcorder stuff, and in the bottom is the time and the date, and it tends to be very annoying sometimes. But you can get rid of the time and the date using your device. And how to do this is basically set your unit up so your source is both coming in the A and the B bus, then set a window up using your square wipe with a soft edge and the positioner over the time. Now you can use your mosaic to distort the time and then blend in just enough so that time is sort of distorted. You're not going to get a perfect picture, but it's better than putting a little black box in the corner or something like this. You see this effect also used on the shows like that cop show or whatever, where they have the actual suspects and they don't want to show who they are, and they actually use a positioner to cover over the face with the distorted image. The mosaic works pretty well for that, and you can decide what amount of mosaic you want.
This section contains various backgrounds that I made up, and you can make up yourself with different textures around the house. These are excellent backgrounds to dissolve with something else, or for titles. You'll notice here I didn't keep them on the screen a long amount of time, and I did a slow dissolve. These two things were done for a couple of reasons. Number one, you can still these backgrounds in your still frame of your digital mix. This will allow you to just store them in there and call them up when you need it, for as long as you need it, so you don't have to worry about it only being a few seconds on the screen. The reason I did slow dissolves on some of them is that you can hit your digital freeze button right at one of the dissolves point to get a combination of a couple of these. Those people with the AVE5 who have the 2 channels of digital effects can actually take a still of a combination of two of them so you can sort of blend four together. The last texture I have coming up here is sort of just a generic blue background. And just to give you an example of how you can fool around using your digital effects, I've manipulated it with the key function and with the mosaic function and with the paint function of your digital effects section. So that's something you can try doing. You can try changing the textures and colors, and even the part of your digital mixer called fade control. You can change the whole tint of the different textures. That would be done by hitting the back color button in the fade control section and bringing the slider up. We're not going to show you that here. We're just going to let you experiment with that on your own. Once more, I can't urge you enough to get out your camera and go around your surroundings, shoot 5 or 10 seconds of each different texture, just enough to be able to have enough to grab a still from, and then save that tape for if ever you need some kind of background for your textures. Now these can be superimposed using the character generator, or should I say the characters would be superimposed, or you can save these on a tape and create the key titles the way we described a few sections back and blend those together. Here's the final background, which is just a blue I actually shot off the television. You can get some interesting textures from shooting your television screen when some images are on. Using the paint and the mosaic the way I described, you just push the buttons sort of back and forth and play around, become an inventor, and you can see you can get all sorts of different backgrounds. And I just did this as I was going along. It's nothing special. You can get a lot better than this. You can get a lot very creative. Right here I'm moving the key back and forth up and down, and I'm also turning the wheel that gives you the back color to change colors. The mosaic knob can be most useful too to get all sorts of in and outs from the colors you can see here. Happy experimenting. Now we take you via satellite to a live report from the Stonebrook Mall with Annie.
Hi, my name's Annie. You may recognize me from that famous movie, The Police Story. Well, I'm here today to give you a special tip. Do you ever have trouble using your mixer? Your hand gets all squished on the positioner? Well, I've got just the thing for you. A chopstick. That's right, a chopstick. All you do is use the chopstick, the thick end, and you take a piece of Scotch tape, or any other kind of tape you have, and you put it down on the bottom. And then, come in a little closer, I want you to see this. You tape it.
Take two, Annie, with the chopsticks.
And you tape it to the positioner, like this. You can use 1 or 2 pieces of tape, however many you feel you need to make it more secure. And then you use the top, and you have these wonderful, smooth moves, and much greater leeway. You know, because you like to do all those intricate graphic designs, this will give you much better leeway and much more smoothness. I think it's a pretty good tip.
Okay, we're done.
No, honey, excuse me, please, but I really have some things I'd like to get off my chest. I mean, I hear these words like toaster and mixer, and I know that he's in here all the time, and he's videotaping this, and he's editing this, and he's filming this, and it's video, and he has more TVs in here than he could possibly
Annie,
use.
there's no more to say.
No, it's my turn. And I'd like a TV for the bedroom.
Oh, gee, we seem to be experiencing technical difficulties.
Well,
Do not
that's
adjust
between a
your
TV
set.
and a monitor. I'd like a monitor in my office. I could watch one just as well as he does. And you know, when I call him for dinner, he never shows up on time. I have to pound on the door and get him in there. And also, he never takes my soap opera.
Since we're at section 15, I'm going to let you guess how this next effect is done. Did you figure it out? You still have another 30 seconds to try to guess how it's done. Then we're going to put the instructions up on the screen, and you'll be able to see how close your guess actually came to how we did it. Okay, here's the solution.
Surprises, a perfect roll for steam party. It'll make your toes down, your eyes water, and feel good all over.
Am I in white boy heaven or what?
Leap of faith.
Okay, for all you MX-10 and MX-12 users who find the need to dissolve something to static, or you want to play a joke on one of your video buddies and return a tape on another tape, in fact, with the static added, that'll scare them. What's provided here is synchronized static. It's time-based corrected and adjusted so you can actually blend and dissolve from it. Even though it's static and it looks like any static you would see, it's actually a strong NTSC signal. So good luck with it, and I hope you find some uses.
Hi, my name's Annie. You remember me, right? Well, what you see all around me is a star field. It's on this tape, and you can use it for any purpose that you want. But meanwhile, get me out of here! I don't like them. They feed me and they trap me in here.
I'm sure we'll hear more from Annie later. Right now, here's a star field for any purpose that you may have, whether it be for weddings, putting a couple's pictures in there, or just adding titles over. Enjoy. And a picture, multi-layered twice on the AVE5, the character generator superimposed, all on this confetti background, which was made with Deluxe Paint 3 also on an Amiga computer with 1 meg of memory. And this is the kind of animation that you can make up yourself. It really doesn't take up a lot of memory. It was made in low resolution, and it has a wide variety of uses.
A particular use for the digital mixers that are often overlooked is live switching. Live switching can be very effective and done very easily. If you need to communicate between the two cameras during the live switch, I suggest making a simple intercom system. It can be done by using these kind of headphones. I got these at J&R Music World for about $50 a pair. Have headphones and a microphone built in. and needing a kind of preamplifier for them, I got this kind of a particular unit at a store called Sam Ash Music. And they both have toll-free numbers that you can get in toll-free directory. And these were about $25 to $29, these little amplifiers. And what I did is I plugged the microphone from the headphones into the mic input, and I just strung the headphone output from the amplifier all the way to the other camera. Another way to do it without going through the headphone jacks is you could see here in the back of the unit, I actually attached it inside to the speaker, so it's just more direct. And two of these units back and forth will allow you to communicate between two different cameras. I myself switch and at the same time run one camera, which can be done. It's a little difficult, but saves you an extra cameraman and extra calling. And if you got a third one of these units, you can tie them all together to communicate between the different groups.
Did you ever want to show your friends an interview you've done, but you want to leave some of it in and some of it out, but you don't want to make it look like a bunch of jump cuts? Here's one situation where your mixer can help you out.
Robin, while they're changing film, can you tell us how you feel about this spectacular grand opening?
I would say that this is a spectacular grand opening. You put the words in my mouth. You have a big career ahead of you as a movie cameraman. Now, I would say this is definitely champagne and caviar land here on West 34th Street in the Big Apple.
Now let's see how it really happened.
While they're changing film, can you tell us how you feel about this spectacular grand opening?
I would say that this is a spectacular grand opening. You put the words in my mouth.
Thank you.
Mind you don't trip, young man.
Thanks.
You have a big career ahead of you as a movie cameraman, providing you don't fall over the lights. Now, I would say this is definitely champagne and caviar land here on West 34th Street in the Big Apple. Even Matt Cott shops here.
The directions you see here are a combination of directions for the MX-10 and 12 and AVE5. They're slightly different, so just bear with them. You want to set the slider on the A bus on the mixer or Video 1 and edit in the first section with no out point. But you want to hit still while the first section is still recording onto the Edit Master. And what you desire to be the out point. This will be your new in point. So you'll let the tape roll. As soon as you find your out point that you want, you hit it on the fly. That'll give you your still. Then you back up the Edit Master to where the still appears. Okay, that's going to be where your new dissolve point is. You're going to dissolve into your new video from that point. Okay, set your new in point there on your Edit Master. So if you were doing an interview and you cut out the part that you wanted, now you have to figure out where on the source tape you want to start again. So set your input on the second section of the source tape. Make sure Video 1 on the white mix effects area of your mixer is on both the A and the B buses. Okay, that's more for the AVE5. For the MX-12, you have to use your signal routing buttons. Now, with the slider on the A bus, you're going to execute the edit, blending from A, which has the still, to B, which has the live video. As the edit clicks in, that's when you're going to hit either the auto take button or the manual dissolve to go into your new video. For those people who only have one source deck, this technique is an excellent way to simulate the A-B roll effect of two source decks.
Right now we're going to look at an effect called video trails, and this effect has been done for many years with video mixers, and you can do it with your own video mixer at home. It simply involves a system where you have one camera hooked up and one video monitor. And you want to aim the camera at the video monitor so it matches up exactly with what's coming out of the video monitor. This will give you an interesting type of effect that you can use for titles. It's really interesting, music videos, or whatever you want. We've done it where we've been doing a live shoot, and they've also had a large screen there, and we've aimed it right at the large screen, one camera, and dissolved into the other camera. Or we've done it where we've just had a camera aimed at a screen to give this video feedback look.
We now bring you the illusion of 3D TV without glasses. Now we reveal for you our secret. Looks like an ordinary television with an ordinary picture, but aha! Things aren't always what they seem. As you can see here, we've superimposed part of the picture from our other source with the positioner onto the area of the television screen. Have fun with this effect, and remember, keep your elbow out of the shot.
Here's an effect that we just did that looks like the bride's flipping over past the reception. It's really unique and it's interesting, definitely, and you wouldn't want to overuse it. And a lot of people wonder, well, how did you do that? It's really not hard. All you have to do is, number one, have a Lazy Susan or some kind of turntable. We actually used a Panasonic turntable that plays records. Put it on the floor, put the picture on the turntable, spun the turntable, panned from left to right. We did it a bunch of times till we felt we got it right. Took that tape and blended it in with another tape, created the circle wipe, and brought the circle from left to right. At the same time, we used the video follow switch from A to B to be able to give us the right circle and dissolve the circle right at the end of the switch. To simulate the digital effect of pushing and pulling, you want to pre-plan a move to the left or the right to give this kind of effect. Sometimes it's better done with a still, so you don't have to worry about when something comes in or out, either pushing into a still or coming from a still. Here's an example of a push and sort of a compression type effect at the same time. And here's practicing. As you see, it takes some practice to get the move right. It's better if the move follows the push or pull onto the screen rather than goes ahead of it. The reason we're showing you practice footage here is we want you to see that it takes a little bit of maneuvering to get it just right. So whether it's an expansion or contraction or a push or pull, make sure you do a few pans or camera moves so you can choose the best one. And make sure you practice your move a few times going into the next scene so you can get it just right. If you have some computer that has a video output in some kind of paint program, one idea is to add a border that you didn't have there already. This is simply done by, like here with Deluxe Paint 3, going into the program, and I have a fine picture here of a picture in a picture, but I want to get more creative. Take the spray tool out or whatever you want and add your own border. This can be very effective in any kind of video that you're doing where you want to enhance the outer edges. But also, it doesn't give that same square shape you normally see.
This next effect was done with the AVE5 picture-in-a-picture, though you could do it with the MX-12 with some pre-planning. To show you the secret of how this is done, we're putting a border across our white pattern, and you can see, following the picture in and out, you get that file cabinet effect. If you have a shot where only the foreground is bright, the key function can be especially effective. It can be used with or without the strobe function.
Now you can have a montage of different effects, but sometimes these montages are even greater with music in the background. A lot of people worry about production music being too expensive. There's a place called the Music Bakery, the number's here on the screen. And we recommend this for background music because they have various different discs, compact discs with over 35 cuts on each disc, which is a really good bargain because the music is unlimited, you can use it as much as you want, and there's a variety of selections for everything. Every piece of production music you hear on this disc, minus the sound effects, is Music Bakery music. And we recommend you give them a call if you're interested in getting low-cost production music that's also high quality, and you get a lot for your money.
This next idea comes out even better if you have a video printer. It's the idea of having, yes, one person's head on another person's body. Since the MX-10 and MX-12 only have one channel as still frame, you'll have to record the first still frame on tape and then bring the other one in live.
Up next, our inexpensive time-based corrector bonus video. But first,
we're going to be taking a look at some of the things that you'll be seeing on the Digital Mixer Companion Volume 2.
you will be learning how to remove vocals from stereos, CDs, and tapes using the AVE and MX mixers. Yes, it can be done, folks, with nothing extra to buy. Also, give that old movie look to some of your videos with your mixer. As shown here, you'll be able to do that with Volume 2. Volume 2 is also going to have a section on how to do SteadyCamera techniques for any size camcorder without the SteadyCam kind of devices. And there's a special section just for wedding videographers with many great wedding effects. If you want to learn to use your Amiga to get complex digital moves right from television shows, copy it right into the Amiga, we're going to show you how. We'll also show you how to create safe and great looking fog and smoke without a fog machine or dry ice as shown here. This is safe to breathe and it'll cost you nothing to make the machine. This is a fun effect that can be enhanced even more with colored lighting. We'll also have a special rundown and review on external AV triggers for the MX and AVE mixers. A background where you'll be hanging over a building, plus multi-layering effects. We'll be revealing the winners of our fabulous contest. And we'll show you how to create an intercom with your mixer. You'll also learn the secrets of booking multi-camera shoots and learn to film a band and get great audio at the same time. Plus, sit in with the president effect. Fancier key animations, more music and backgrounds, more effects, many surprises, tips, tricks, and a lot of bonus selections.
So if you haven't ordered it already, make sure you get the Digital Mixer Companion Volume 2. That's about all for this tape today, and since you are on our list of owners of Digital Mixer Companion Volume 1, we'll be sending you a list of other tapes relating to videography that we'll be putting out in the future. Up next, we have the inexpensive time-based corrector solution bonus video. But other than that, that's all for now, and I will be seeing you on the next tape.
And right now we bring you the inexpensive time-based corrector solution bonus video. Happy video making.
Hi. You're obviously watching this tape because you want to get 2 time-based correctors and you don't want to pay a lot of money. We can't blame you. We figured out a way to do that, and on this tape we're going to show you how that's done. Now, the first secret with this is a unit called the Panasonic WJ-AVE5. It's a consumer digital video mixer put out by Panasonic. The WJ-AVE5 is similar to the WJ-MX-12. Although to get 2 time-based corrected signals out, you can't use the WJ-MX-12. Only the AVE5 will work. And we're going to show you about that and why that is. Normally, the AVE5 is a unit that can do dissolves between one thing and another. It can do wipes and effects, and it's very similar to the JMX-12. The difference between the JMX-12 is, number one, the JMX-12 has a Chroma control. 2, the JMX-12 has an auto take button. And 3, the JMX-12 time-based corrects one signal to the time-based correction of another signal. In other words, it compares one tape to another tape input you put in, and it syncs them together, which allows you to do dissolves and this kind of thing. With the AVE5, both signals are time-based corrected separately, or should I say they're digitized separately, and this allows you to do the 2 time-based corrected outputs. It's not covered in the manual of the AVE5, and we're going to tell you how that's done.
First, we'd like to show you some wipes that the AVE5 does that the MX-12 doesn't do. And this is what gives it a whole bunch more wipes, is the fact that it has a multiple mode. So instead of just 1 square, you could have 4 squares or 16 squares on the screen at the same time, wiping from one thing to another. Right here is just a wedding and a band that we just threw in one machine and the other and the other. And you can do the sort of triangle and diamond type effects with the multiple too. Of course, the hard and soft edges and the colored edges, just like with the MX-12. This is an interesting effect you can do with the AVE5 that the other ones can't do, and it's sort of like a diamond that seems to mesh in a few of the horizontal lines. As you can see, you can do it in different patterns, horizontal and vertically. Of course, you can do the basic circle. You can also do multiples of circle and multiples of sort of what look like mountains on their side. You can do those horizontally and vertically. A set of the 16 circles. And here's something that's Really fun to do, sort of a cube effect. This is done by hitting the multiple button with no other wipes on the AVE5. You can do 4 cubes, or you can do 16 cubes, putting it in fast or slow. You could also do sort of a Venetian blind effect.
Now let's show you the hookup on the AVE5 that'll give you 2 time-based corrected outputs. Number 1, whether it's Super VHS or composite, connect your input signals to the back of the unit. Number 2, set your source on the A bus to 1 and the source on the B bus to 2. This will allow, obviously, source 1 to be on the upper A bus and source 2 to be on the B bus. We're going to keep this format so as we continue giving you directions, it's not confusing. Next step is to set your record video out button to A. The next step is to slide the slider down that shifts between the A and the B bus down to B. The next step is to take 2 outputs, these can be composite or Super VHS, out of your AVE5. However, it's not going to be done the way you would think it would be done. What you want to do is take 1 output out of the record video 1 out. Now what you want to do is take 1 output out of the preview output of the AVE5. Now making sure your source switches and your video slider and your record out are set exactly the way we said, you can now take these 2 signals and put them on the input of a video toaster or even some other switcher that takes 2 synchronized signals. If you're going to hook it up to the video toaster, here's an example of some of the effects that you can get. Now, I've had some engineer friends of mine say, oh, this kind of thing won't work. Although it may seem like it's working, it's not giving a stable signal. So what I did is I took my whole unit set up like this over to a studio that has a full-blown $5,000 oscilloscope waveform monitor, the whole deal, and we put it on the little green screen. And I can assure you every signal that we got out when we were doing the switching between the video toaster was perfectly stable and no sync errors or anything like that. So where's the disadvantage in this over buying two time-based correctors, which would cost you about $6,000? The disadvantage is
A professional time-based corrector is going to have a slightly better picture.
now the different toaster effects that you see will bounce from master tapes onto a Super VHS tape, then bounce to our Super VHS master, and then bounce to your VHS tape. And as you can see, even with that many generations, even though the signal-to-noise ratio may not be quite as good as some other time-based corrector, it still pretty much holds up. One other difference I forgot to mention about the MX-12 versus the AVE5 is the AVE5, apparently, according to specifications from Panasonic, has 1 decibel signal-to-noise ratio, not quite as good. It's the signal-to-noise ratio is something like 46 instead of 45. JMX-12 versus the AVE5. It's 1 degree not as good on the AVE5. However, I've compared these two units, and I have found that visually I can't tell any difference. As a matter of fact, another advantage over the AVE5 I seem to notice is that the slider from the A bus to B bus when doing a dissolve is a lot smoother with the AVE5 on manual mode than with the JMX-12.
The AVE5 also has the picture-in-a-picture device.
The MX-12 tends to go for around $2,600. The AVE5 tends to go for about $1,500, $1,600. Right now I'm going to list up on the screen, as of the sending out of this video, who to contact and what company to get the lowest price. The lowest price right now is under $1,300, and I'll now put it up. This will change every so often, but as for right now, the release of your tape, this is the cheapest price, the contact, and the place to get it. As a matter of fact, I've researched many different places, and this lowest price here is far below any other.
Now, if you don't have a video toaster in the Amiga 2000 now, or
you don't plan on getting one, but you have another vertical interval switcher, even maybe a JMX-12 or Panasonic JMX-10, another advantage of this particular AVE5 unit is you can combine it with another switcher to get multiple effects. These effects would look like as follows. Have to do is you have to play your tape up to the point where, say, you made a mistake filming a reception or something. Now at that point, right before you come up to where you made the mistake, you want to push pause. So now it's on play pause. And to video insert your piece using the 350, what you're going to do is you're going to use one finger. You have really small fingers, 2 fingers, but one finger's the better way, to hold down the record and dub buttons at the same time. Now, while you're holding those down at the same time, you want to slide the lever that says VCR play record, camera play record, plastic piece to the right as you're looking at the unit, releasing your finger as it comes right over those 2 buttons. That will allow those 2 and the pause button to all be on. So it's sort of on a record pause mode. However, the video is going to be dubbed, not the audio, which is really nice because while you're on the job, you can do first generation cutaway. So now you got your camcorder in the pause mode. You want to find what you want to insert. And as soon as you find it, you're going to release your button and insert and push pause. Now, again, this is not going to affect the audio section, but it's going to make a nice video insert at the job and maybe save you some editing time later. For those of you who don't have editing equipment, this is a real nice creative way to put your tape together on the spot. After you push pause, though, you must remember, you cannot do this kind of editing twice in a row. You have to then start all over again, push the play, find where you want to insert your push pause, and bring the lever over. Again, this is really nice, especially if you don't have equipment that can do video dubbing or whatever later, too, because the audio track basically stays the same.
You believe in miracles,
It's also nice if you're on a job that you have to produce something on the spot and you don't have the editing equipment there. What I do is I bring along a 450 camcorder or something bigger and better, and then just bring the 350 along if you want to do some inserts or those little digital effects. Good luck, and I hope you enjoyed our little special bonus section.
Not really hard, just normal. 1, 2, 3.
But hurry, because it's hard.
I know. This way, that's it, right there. That's where you're going to look forward. Now, these hands got to be like this. And then you have to be lean back, like that. Yeah, but lean in the way, so look at the camera. No, look at the camera, not like that, like you're going to look. Like that. Like there. Now the hands come here. That's it. Oh, that's the ticket.
Hurry.
All right, go ahead. Do your thing.
Hi, my name's Annie. You remember me, right? Well, what you see all around me is a star field. It's on this tape, and you can use it for any purpose that you want. But meanwhile...